Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, Liliveth Tate channel. Hello, how is everybody in the world today, tonight, afternoon, in your time? So mega love shout out to all my members, to all my new subscribers who subscribed my channel. Hello, thank you so much for coming. Vic. And I would like to make a love shout out, of course, to all my generous super chatters and to all my friends and to all my uh, donators in PayPal. Hello, Vic. Hello. So today is our subject is I'll give you guys, I'll give you some basic information towards the VAWC. VAWC, it's a VAC, VAWC. We pronounce that VAWC or excuse me, violence against women and children. Okay, so I'll give you some details, especially for those Western people uh, dealing with Filipina girlfriend or dealing with Filipino boyfriend. Well, it's more on women protection. So for those Western men dealing with Filipino girlfriend or Filipino wife. Okay, so I'll give you some details so that you will understand or how you interpret about this kind of law here in the Philippines. So, excuse me. Because this law is not only for Filipino boyfriend or Filipino husband. It doesn't really matter what nationality you are as long as you dealing with Filipino wife or Filipino girlfriend. So that law is covered what nationality you are. So this kind of content for today, I'm not in the, I'm not a legal legal counsel for this, but I have sense that I can understand a little about this kind of law here in the Philippines. And that's one thing, guys, that I really want to share this for those Western people that you suddenly surprised that somebody will go to your house or go to your condominium or apartment, shown the warrant of arrest because of this kind of law. So you must be aware of this and you must be pay attention this kind of law because most of, I'm not saying all, some of Western men, they don't really, they don't really know this law. So if they have argument, they don't really care if that's in public or not. Okay, so you must be aware, and then you might surprise that one day, what's wrong? Why they arrest me for you think that you don't do nothing, but that's kind of law that you have pay attention about that, especially when you're dealing with Filipino wife or Filipino girlfriend. So that's two factors that that BAWC or violence against women and children, not only for the wife, okay, also for children. They call that BAWC. Okay, so you must be aware of if you're dealing with a single mom, okay, and they have children, you must be uh, aware of your position to deal with the children of your wife or your girlfriend, because this is all about women and children protection here in the Philippines. So before you give your your time or position, to discipline the children of your spouse, Filipino spouse or Filipino girlfriend. You have to talk first. Where is your limit, and what is your what is your rule as their stepdad? Okay, because if not, you really locked up in jail or in prison. Because Filipino, we're not really frank to say the 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 straight what do you call that, the straight things that you really want to deal with this, with this kind of situation. We have something like, especially for women, that saving face. We don't really go to the thing that we gonna admit right away, so we have to do some saving face, so you have to be aware of that. And this is the thing that when it comes to dealing with a single Filipina, it's kind of a hard. It's kind of a hard because we have that kind of law here in the Philippines that VAWC, if suddenly even your neighbors can file case against you, okay? But we're gonna talk that later. This is kind of a basic information that I want to share with you guys, especially for those Western people dealing with Filipino girlfriend or Filipino wife. So feel free, guys, to ask some question, or feel free, to share your opinion about this kind of law. So I hope one day that I can invite my sister, because she knows about this kind of law, that she can able to explain uh, properly. So I hope one day I can convince her to guest on my show. But as of now, I just give you some basic information about that kind of law, the VAWC, violence against women and children here in the Philippines. As you can see, guys, that there's a Western man that he's surprised that there's a police go to their apartment and shown the warrant of arrest, and then now he's locked up in the prison here in the Philippines, arguing with his girlfriend. But I'm not really into that, because they just don't really tell us the real story about that. So there's something Paul for that kind of situation, because there's only one side story they tell online. So they never tells the other side of Filipina. Because here in the Philippines, guys, I don't think that if you're not doing against that kind of law, they will arrest you for no reason. Of course, there's a reason. Okay, so we're gonna discuss that later. So now, and I sometimes, when it comes to that kind of information, some Western people don't really pay attention about that. Okay, but they think that kind of law is nothing. No, it's not nothing, because if you're not aware of that, you, whether you like it or not, you're gonna locked up in prison 3 years. It depends how how the violation for um, women and children, they gonna base on that. Okay, how does expat avoid this happening? Of course, you have to be aware of that big, that if you're dealing with, sometimes Western people or expat must know a little basic laws here in the Philippines, especially when it comes to family code here in the Philippines. If not, then you're gonna surprise that somebody, your girlfriend or your wife will file case against you because you don't really know about the basic law here in the Philippines. So that's the reason why I mention this most of the time when I mention this in my previous live stream, that for those Western people who wants to move or wants to retire here in the Philippines, do your homework first. Do a little research, basic laws here in the Philippines, and the system, and of course, people. What is your rights while if you're moving here in the Philippines? Are you have the same rights if you move here in the Philippines with Filipino people or with Filipino citizen? So you have to figure it out, that because in this kind of law, the VAWC thinks, uh, I thought, this only for Filipino who do violence against women and children. No, it's not. This is, it doesn't really matter what nationality you are. As long as that situation or that case happened here in the Philippines. If happened that in the West, some laws here that it's not really valid in other in other countries, but that things happen here, whether you're Westerners or Filipino, you're still covered for that kind of law. So there's so many factors, guys, that you have to deal, especially if the woman that you with, they have children, because this is all about women and children protection. And especially if you're dealing with Filipina that their children is underage, that's a very strong grounds for you to go on jail for that. It depends, because here in the Philippines, guys, we don't have jury, just only judge. So you have to show the grounds or strong evidence to convince the judge that you're not guilty of doing, or the accusation of your girlfriend or your spouse or your wife to file for you. So you have to do things that it's really convince the judge, not put you in jail. Hi, Henry. Hello. Oh, by the way, guys, welcome to my show again, Henry. So, Henry, you're dealing with your girlfriend is Filipina. So, this is right for you, of course, Vic. Okay. So I'll just give some basic guys, basic guys. But if you want to really know about this kind of law, all you have to do, guys, just go on Google, just type it, VAWC, or violence against women and children. Okay, it really shows the details about this kind of law. And number one, for those Western people, you have to know the knowledge to protect yourself, especially if you're living outside your country. And that's the reason why I mentioned a while ago that if you want to retire or decided to move in the Philippines, do your little research first, okay? Because sometimes people go locked up in jail because they don't know their rights or knowledge to protect themselves. So you have to do your research to find out that knowledge to protect yourself. Okay. So number one is, yes, um if you have, this is kind of situation, guys. Sometimes, if you're in the, in the strong argument, okay, as much as you can, oh yeah, research everything you possibly can before moving to another country, just right, before you deal with, because here's the thing, guys, that I can tell you, majority of Filipina guys are very jealous. I'm not one of those, so there's no problem about me dealing with, with that kind of situation. But majority of Filipina is very jealous, and one of the factors that the cause of arguing is that jealousy. So you have to be aware, and you have to give more patience to yourself. And if there's, sometimes we people, if there's, the argument is so hot, so the fire is so what do you call that, it's just like, the argument is just like a volcano, and then you're surprised that all of a sudden is erupted. So you have to be patient for that, especially that we have that kind of law here in the Philippines. So, as much as you can do, don't argue with your wife, don't argue with your girlfriend in public area. As much as you can, bring that home, okay? And if your girlfriend or wife is so mad or furious about the situation that you're arguing, don't talk. Don't talk to her, because no matter how you explain to her, she will not listen to you. And if that case that you're both very, very furious with each other, sometimes we out of control our mouth, we out of control ourselves, that sometimes we suddenly put on hands to them. Okay, for men, you have to be patient, you have to control for yourself, because even though that woman is, she's the one who create that argument. And sometimes, some men are not really into that, control their self. It's easy to lose their temper, and all of a sudden they put hands on that. You have to avoid that, guys. Avoid that. If you're gonna, goes to your, your emotion for that, you mess up. Okay. Yes, most of, and even, even that, that kind of situation. And like I said, it's okay to, yes, that's a good advice, Frank, to those expats or passport bro. Try dealing with somebody who's already jealous of one of your friends. Not fun. That's the problem, guys, that, for those expat or passport bro, if your girlfriend or fiance or wife is jealous type, don't ever ever invite your female Filipino friend in your house. Never. Because that's the gonna cause of fight, or you might locked up in the corner. Okay, so avoid that. So if like, go outside, it's okay, you meet in great, but don't invite your female friend as long as you know with each other that sometimes you can really tell that you're close for so many years, it's okay. But it's just like just a short time of period, don't, because your wife avoid the things. But what if the woman that your wife invited is not that type of person that how you think when it comes dealing friends, and sometimes they take advantages. Because some Filipino, I'm not saying all, but some Filipino women, they love to challenge Western men with Filipina spouse or with Filipina wife. How strong is the band with this Western men with the Filipina wife, Filipina fiance, or Filipina girlfriend? Because there's a saying, some of those Filipina that they don't really give a s for the relation that you really want to build with your Western partner is just like, it's just like their girlfriend and girlfriend. They said that even husband and wife, they can steal the husband from the wife. What if your boyfriend and girlfriend, there's no certificate? Okay, so they love to challenge that. Wait, let me read. Yeah, that's something I didn't remember when I started dating here. I forgot all about the jealousy there. Oh, Henry, now you know. Some women, they don't admit it that they are jealous. But observe, if you're dealing with a Filipina, observe your spouse, observe your wife, observe your girlfriend. They don't tell, but you can really shown to them. But actually, for women, it's easy for us to smell if the woman get jealous. Okay, well, because it's just like you can really tell the way that they're staring at you, the way that the body language, the way that they talk to you, you can really tell. They said that, oh, I'm not jealous, but no, that's BS, guys. That they said that they are not jealous. That's BS. But deep inside, you know, they're jealous to death. And all of a sudden, you will know that. And one day, if the relationship with this person is no longer good, it will come out the real situation during the time that you meet, or um, meet and greet. Yeah, when it comes to I don't have time for that. Well, sometimes sometimes it well, you don't have to give that time, because that's really that's BS, guys. The jealousy thing. Okay, but sometimes it really mess up your relationship with your partner if you're not really pay attention about that. Because sometimes it's sometimes we're not pay attention, that it's we let it go, but you surprise one day that kind of the simple jealousy, it end up break up with your relationship with your partner, because you're not really pay attention about that. You're not aware of how to deal with that, how to explain or how to educate with your partner, so that she will not get jealous about that. This is all about, you have to also that the main thing that sometimes for men, they are don't really understand what how women deals with women. So you women should teach their partner how to deal with that, so that there's no conflict when you meet in greet, or when you one day you invited, to join something like events. Same thing with the men, so that the women, especially for Filipino, that we're very jealous about that. For those, for those Filipino, whether you like it or not, this is the facts, that we are so jealous when it comes to our men. Especially if you can see that, the women that, your, your man dealing with, or friend, is prettier and sexier than you, that's really triggers them to get jealous, insecure. It triggers them, to feel that I'm so, they don't really, every time that you talk, or, oh, can you hear me, guys? Sorry, because until now it's still raining here in the Philippines, in my place. I don't know in other part of Metro Manila, but now it's still raining. So sometimes it really cut it off my connection. So I apologize for that. So that's, that's the thing. Here's the, what is, the what is the VAWC, or violence against women, that, that they really, because here's the thing, guys, that uh if you, for men, sometimes, uh we cannot really control that, especially if the relationship with your wife or with your girlfriend starts to cold. Sometimes you're gonna tell to her that, oh, I don't like you, you're fat, you're not smell good, or what, just example only. That's a ground for a woman to file case against you, because that's verbally abuse. So you have to be you have to be careful about. But it's just like, it's just like, um what do you call that, a single argument, that, don't there's no cursing words. That's okay. It's not, it's not entitled for, for file a case, because that's normal, guys, especially if you're husband and wife, or girlfriend and boyfriend, a single argument. But if there's a verbally abuse, that, you just tell the, the woman that, you're, like I mentioned, that you're fat, you're ugly, you're something like that. Yeah, she can file case against you for that. So this is the thing that I don't really like, this kind of law, because they just really shown that only protection for women. How about men? Because not all women are abused by their husband or by their boyfriend. Some men also, that they are abused with their spouse or wife or their girlfriend. So if there's a women protection in children, of course there's a man against, women's as well. So that it must be fair, because that's the thing, guys, that some women are do something that they really wants to their boyfriend or girlfriend to provoke, because they know that there's a law, no matter what, men cannot do this. So sometimes men don't really aware of this kind of law, so it's easy for them to lose their temper. At the end of the day, they lock up. Okay, so that's, that's for me is, wait a minute, because some women are very into the thing that they become big head. They can do whatever they want to do to their men, because there's a law that protect them. So the main thing that, the law is covered, some grounds is uh verbal abuse or insulting a person or insulting a woman, avoid that, guys. For men, this is, my advice. Avoid that. And then humiliating them, especially when you do a public in a public, in a public places, guys. Same thing with the, with children. So if you're dealing with a Filipina has a children before you married to her, you have to sit down and talk. How about, when it comes to children? Are she allow you to discipline your children? What is your limit to discipline her children? So some women, they just tell you, yeah, okay, you're their father. Especially you're the one who support them, you are the father. But sometimes, some mother, it's hard for them to accept the fact that you have the right also to discipline her children because you're the one who feed them. But they don't really take that kind of position. So you have to, you have to sit down, because no matter from now on, that's kind of a scary for, for expats to dealing with, Filipina. And especially, it's different things, guys, that you visit here in the Philippines. It's different. You visit in the Philippines, but you're not living here. Okay? Visiting Philippines is not as what people think. But living here, that's the way that you will know everything, the system, people, the laws, once you're living here. So try to, try to live here at least, 2 or 3 years. And you can really see the difference between when you visit and live here in the Philippines. Because if you visit Philippines, you're not really into the thing, find the laws, what is your, rights, when you're here. All you have to do, just go to different places, nice place to visit, dealing with women's, or, things that it makes you feel pleasure for that kind of that vacation. So when you living here in the Philippines, you have to be aware of your action. You have to be aware of what's the laws here. Okay, what is your right as foreign? What is the right that a foreign can treat it like Filipino? But anyway, guys, I know that if you're a residence visa holder here in the Philippines, what Filipino rights, you will get that. Okay? But if you're just tourist, there's a certain rights that you cannot avail. Okay? It's limit. But I know that if you're a residence here, what the rights of men or what's the right of Filipino citizen here, you will get that kind of rights. So that's, that's the thing that for me, my advice, as much as you can, guys, for those expat or passport bro, try to find a woman that is not single mom. Find a woman that is single, because from the start you don't really have to think that, because especially that you just visit here, not living here, you will not see that kind of difference. But wait until you live here in the Philippines, you will really see the big difference about that. So I'm not discouraging you guys not to deal with, with a single mom, if you're dealing with a single mom, but you have to be aware of the things that not only protection for other, for your Filipino partner, but you have also to aware of your personal protection if you're leaving or move here in the Philippines. And sometimes there's a man also that there, some men are very nagger. Okay, you took one, but them, they already talk five. And sometimes that it trigger also for those women that, wait a minute, you're too much. I thought it's only women nag for that. No, some men also, but I'm not generalized, guys. And what are those evidence, a strong grounds or strong evidence that a Filipino partner or spouse or girlfriend can able, to file case against you if a man do things like this. Okay, number one is video. That kind of evidence here in the Philippines is granted. And of course, some like, if the man, if you put hands on the Filipina, for Filipina, make sure you go to the clinic or hospital to show something, a medical certificate. They will grant for that. So there's so many patterns that a woman can file case against you, like um, serious threat. So I don't want to elaborate the serious threat that's one of the strong grounds for a woman to file case or to file VAWC against a man. Or sexual relation. So if you're like for expats, okay, if you're Filipina found out that you're dealing with like sexual relationship with the, it doesn't really matter if that transgender or what, as long as you have sexual relationship with that person, that's a strong ground also. And messages, uh, phone conversation, that if your Filipina wife or girlfriend can have that, yeah, that's it. It's also a strong ground for the to judge, to show that you will lock up on the prison, even though there's no sexual relation. Okay, but you can tell about the chat or the call or the audio, yeah, it will granted for that. And some people, some expat or passport bro, they are not paying attention about that because they don't do nothing. It's just like it's just like no. But in court here in the Philippines, they accept that strong evidence for a woman to file case against you. So how many years if you're gonna be like play guilty about doing that, about the VAWC or the violence against women and children, um, like it depends, 1 month to 6 years. So I think the 6 years in prison that the woman has you put your hands on her or verbally abuse, and sometimes even before that, guys, here's the thing that in Philippine code, no, in Philippine code, no, family code here in the Philippines, if you're married, guys, okay, especially for those married, if the wife refused to give you intimacy, you can't force her. If you force your wife to give you intimacy, that's a rape. The wife can file case, the wife can file rape against you, even though you're husband and wife. So that's kind of, what? Is this really law for those, Western people? Is this really law? Yes, it is. It's signed and implemented. It's still part of the VAWC, but in different degree. And how about men? How about men? So that's is one thing, guys, that and here some of the laws that other countries implemented or signed, it's just like only they give protection for women, or some vice versa. They also give protection for men, but majority of the laws is more on favor of women's side. So how about if the man will refuse to give intimacy to his wife? What's the case of that? So that's crazy. So in that case about the VAWC, guys, it based on, the judge will base on the evidence. Sometimes, that's some is bill are payable. It's according, the situation. Okay, but if the evidence is so strong, well, the judge will not give you a consideration, to pay the bills for that. So if it's just like arguing, or sometimes, they allow that, but especially when you put your hands, and especially if there's kids or child involved, especially the child is underage, it's kind of a strong for judge not to give you a chance to pay the bill. So it's just like, if you don't have, that the bill will not pay if you have a strong testimony. That's enough. But if you don't have enough testimony or evidence, it's not really enough to give you, the judge will give you, things that you have to pay the bill, so that you're not locked up in prison. So my advice, I know that there's a lot of expats or Western men that wants to move or live here in the Philippines in the future. Know the laws, know your rights here, because once you decided, to move here, and especially you sell everything, and then you realize, oh my goodness, this law is more on favor on Filipino Filipino citizen or Filipino people, and you're just living for nothing here. Okay, so you do your homework first, or your research. Okay, what Frank said. Okay, let me read, guys. Okay, from Frank. I also advise guys you to not keep over 2 million pesos here. Keep most of your wealth in your home country. Yes. Here in the Philippines, that when it comes to your money, guys, yeah, that's a smart thing to do. Yeah, it's here the thing, guys, that when it comes to your money, guy, it's better not to bring all your money here. You leave some money that can make money in your country, okay? Because here in the Philippines, that they will insure your money if your money is 1 million, and if you deposit your money over 2 million, is no longer insured. Just only 1 million intact, okay? So, and here's the problem here, that we have a law. Well, it's already implemented now, because President Bongbong Marcos signed that kind of agreement between the bank. So they will get 20% tax on the savings that you get from your money, especially when it comes to CD or time deposit, guys. So the problem here is, if example, if I'm the depositors, okay, in my because we don't have a CD thing just only in the States, right? We do have here time deposit. So they give us 1% for the interest of my example, my 1 million. They give 1%. If your money is not 1 million, they just give you 0.25 or 0.27% per annum. That's a very small interest that you can get from your money. And here's the crazy part is, you don't really want to deal in our bank here, because they give you 1% if your money is 1 million, 1%. But they tax your the interest that you get from your time deposits is 20%. So you get 1%, and then the government will take 20%. Jesus Christ, how can you make your money with your money because of the tax? So my advice is, you better build a business, but you have to hands on in that. Because if you invest your money in the bank, you don't get nothing, because the bank gave you interest 1%, but they will tax your interest rates for 20%. Jesus Christ. So you're really, well, you're not good if you're dealing with that. If you're not really good to deal with your money, if you allowed your money to tax 20% and then the bank give you 1%. So for me, you better deal by yourself, okay? Okay, Henry. I have to think, what is BRB? Okay, I remember that. Okay, no problem. So that's crazy, guys. That's crazy. So that's good advice, what Frank mentioned, that you don't have to bring all your money here in the Philippines. Make sure leave some money in your country, especially because in the States they gave you a good interest rates when you do on the CD or the bond. So they give you good interest rates for that. Don't bring all your money here, because Oh my goodness. You cannot make money with your money here, especially now that the 20% tax. Whew, hallelujah. You don't really want to deal with that. Seriously. And that's the thing that some of expats and Western people, they don't really know about that. And sometimes, some laws here that there's a certain things that you can't. You can't. Like own a land here. And some Western people, well, if you really want to lose your money, then you build a house or buy a land here. If you want to lose your money, then that's the time you can build house or what here. But if you don't, then don't messing around with your money here in the Philippines, because you get for nothing. Well, sometimes it's their rights, it's a matter of choice. If some Western people, they know about when it comes to build property or investment real estate here, it's kind of not good on the Western people's side, because it's more on our protection, not for the Western people, especially if you're married to a Westerners. It's kind of hard for you to so do something that be fair with your partner when it comes to dealing the laws here. So if you want to lose your money, then go ahead, buy property here, build a business here. Because if you want to build a business, I'm pretty sure that the name of that business is not under your name. That's for your Filipino wife or Filipino husband. Because when it comes to dealing with a business here, it's just like 60% Filipino ownership and 40% foreign ownership. It's still more on Filipino than the Western. So if you build a company here, so 60-40. And I can see there's a lot of Western people that they have a good plan, but there's a but. Not but. There's a but, or however. However. So think many times, before you invest your money here in the Philippines. That's all I can say is invest your money in a wise thing. So I don't really understand about the laws here in the Philippines. Well, it is what it is, guys. Agree to disagree. So, but for me, and I realize also that, wait a minute, it's kind of unfair for those Westerners. Of course, you guys, if you come here in the Philippines, buy things, especially if the source of income came from the United States, of course, the money that you bring here, or the food that you bought here in the Philippines, it's taxed. So it's unfair for those, Western people that they cannot own land here. But sad to say that that's the law that my government implemented. So the only thing that you can do is do the smart way when it comes dealing with your money here in the Philippines, or do the smart way to invest your money here in the Philippines. So again, if you want to lose your money, then buy a land, build a house, and that's it. At the end of the day, if the government make a laws that all foreign people, you're not entitled to claim or to own land here, only your Filipino spouse. So That's a gamble, guys. So again, it's in your hand, it's in your hand and mine to decide what's the good for your money, to make money here. And sometimes, the laws here that they implemented, it's unfair. Not only for Western people, it's also some less Filipino. And they said that, speaking of less people, it's just like one of the economists said that, the 20% tax that they will get from your savings, the interest rate from your money, they said that all less people or poor people will not affected. Huh? You really think that, poor people are dumb for that? It's the same, because what's the rules? It's just the only difference is for rich and poor people. The rich can bring more money than the poor people, is just less, limit only that they can bring money. But still, still, no matter what, rich people, when it comes to interest rate, it's the same. So I don't really understand. They said that, poor people will not affected of that 20% tax on the savings that they get from their time deposit. That's Jesus Christ. Come on. So it really, it really lost my temper for that. They're saying, oh my goodness, why they say that? They think that, those poor people are brainless, just only for rich people. Jesus Christ. Actually, rich people can benefits about that, because, millions they deposit that. So it doesn't really, it affected on them, but it's not as big as what poor people. So now that there's some Filipino that instead invest their money to the bank, they just, okay, it's time for me to pull out my money in the bank, because how can I make money with your money? And then the bank gave you 1% interest rates annual, and then the bank will tax your savings for 20%. My goodness. My goodness. So it's better, yeah, for me, I will do that. I will pull out all my money and then do some business that I can able to get more than 1% or 0.25 or 0.27% that they gave you interest rates annual. Not monthly, guys, huh? Annual. The point, if your money, if you just invest your money in the bank, like, 300,000 pesos or 500,000 pesos, they give you for your time deposit is just like 0.25 or 0.27. If not, no way. So that's one thing, guys, that here in the Philippines, it's important, especially for those expats and passport birth, it's important you guys to have a local bank account here, like savings, dollar savings or Philippine savings, and then checking account in a peso account. Because you know what, if you're looking for the unit or condominium for rent, or if you want to buy some like installment property, they will ask you a post dated check, because here in the Philippines, uh what do you call that, release, no, it's not release, giving post dated check, it's legal here in the Philippines. Okay, so if you want to rent a condo unit here, they will ask you 2 months deposit, 2 months advance, or sometimes 1 month deposit, 2 months advance, and then 12 pieces of post dated check. If not, they will not give you the condo that you want to rent. So it's important also to have a local checking account here, because it's one of the requirements that they will ask to release or give them a post-dated check. So if that's the thing, guys, I thought before that it's okay, I can go for rent without that checking account, but no, it's one of the requirements. So whether you like it or not, you have to deal with the bank, because it's necessity. It's a mandatory for you, if you're a renter, to release or to give a 12 pieces of post-dated check. But if it's in the West, it's illegal, um, what do you call that? Yeah, the term that it's in my brain, to release or to give a post-dated check. Most of the US check is good, but here no. They can give you a post-dated check. So it's not against the law here, it's legal here. Protect yourself for all cost. And by the way, guys, for here, here also that, before I forgot. So here in the Philippines, guys, that we have laws here that, cursing, it doesn't really matter if you're Westerners or Filipino. If you're cursing your people, like, you're, like, you're fat, you're ugly, we have the law that, to protect those people, that anti-bully law. Yeah, we have that law. So for those, because I have friends, she was bullied in her own show. So remember, for those Western people, especially if we recognize you that that's you, the account that you use, and you plan to come here in the Philippines, we can file case against you to bond you here in the Philippines, or you cannot visit Philippines. So beware of your mouth, beware of yourself. Go to other channel and make some fake account, and make some, you make yourself a trolls for that. So make sure that your account is not identified. But if your account was identified, that it's you, if you're plan to visit in the Philippines, beware, because you might not come here. The Bureau of Immigration will bond you here for that. So that's the thing that some people, especially when you do live stream, guys. So I'm so blessed that less people coming on my show, that they are most of um they're nice people. But 2 years ago, oh my goodness, when I use the StreamYard, guys, oh, there's a lot of trolls. Okay, and there's guys that insulted. You better stop that. Okay, I don't want to mention your name. You better stop doing that. If your account, the NTC, the National Telecommunication Company, will recognize your account, and we're gonna get some evidence and bring it to the Bureau of Immigration by the time that you coming here. And
post-dated checks is illegal.
so that's the thing, guys, that beware of your words or bullied people online. You think that is nothing for you, but here means a lot to us. Once they recognize your account, so do the right thing, that your account will not recognize. So you're free for the case that a Filipino can file case against you. And who is, any question, guys, for 5 million people? Cisco! Hello, brother. Thank you for coming, Cisco. So, I hope that you can replay this, because there's so many information that I can share with you guys, but I don't want to talk again and again. So, I hope that you have time to replay this, Cisco, and I really appreciate that if you do. So, this is all about Western people protection against those unfair justice, unfair law that my okay, thank you very much, that my government implemented. It's kind of an unfair law. Okay. Oh, by the way, guys, I would like, to uh make a loud shout out to all Western people, because this is the thing that when I found out, because just a few days ago, our president Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. was visited the White House with President Donald Trump. Okay, so they just compare Bongbong Marcos with President Zelensky of Ukraine, because that time when Zelensky visited Ukraine, until now, his country is still in war. So he's just wearing a regular clothes. Okay? And then this is the thing that, when I watch those, in a short video, guys, there's so many. I don't really understand those bloggers that they really shows that our president has no sense of values, and they just said that he's wearing well, they don't really speak the right word for our national dress for men. Okay, he said, but I don't want to mention this American blogger. He said baron. We don't have that national dress named baron. Okay, we call that barong. Okay, barong. So, and then I'm said that, okay, when I look at the video, Bongbong Marcos is not as what Zelensky dress up. I understand Zelensky because his country is in war, so people don't really think that it's unfair for his people that he's wearing suit like the president of the United States, and his country was in war. So he has no sympathy for his people by showing the word, but no matter what, we're in war, but look, I'm still good. It's not the way that some people think. And now I just tell, I just shake my head. These people try to tell the world they know better than us. The barong, we call that, the national dress for Filipino men, we call that barong Tagalog. Okay, that's our national dress for men. And then he said that, he said that it's made of silk. No, it's not. It's not made of silk. It's a made of piña. Piña, it's a kind, the pineapple. So the fiber that we get from the pineapple is just like, they just, what do you call that? They wave that so that it can create, a good quality of barong Tagalog. And that's our national dress, because Bongbong Marcos is a Filipino. He represents the Filipino people by wearing that. And they did question, and then they said that there's so many fake news. They said that, oh, Trump was so mad of Bongbong Marcos because he's not wearing suit. Come on, Bongbong Marcos is not American. He's a Filipino, and that's our national dress. So that no matter what is this, that's a formal. Same thing with American. No matter what country you're from, you're just wearing because you're a representative of the United States. So there's a lot of fake news that, oh my goodness, they don't really know the history. Yeah. Yeah, but sometimes, small things that, says school, they must learn how to do that because, people are not aware of that. They think that that's how we Filipino act. That we are not, we are not thinker. We are not doing the right thing. Okay? Sometimes people, you have to say something so that they will understand that, wait a minute, you don't know our history. You don't know what's that behind of that dress that our president wearing that. Welcome back, Henry. And by the way, guys, I would like to ask a little favor because just the last time that I asked, for those ones to help me, to reach out, so I need your help, guys. So today I need to reach out the $25, guys, for those wants to help me to reach that $25, guys, not 25,000. Just only $25. So I need your help for that. Okay, so for those, for those willing to help me, I really appreciate that. For those not, it's okay, I understand if you're not. So that's, that's the thing, guys, that, oh my goodness. So sometimes we people, because now I notice, guys, there's so many fake news spread, especially in YouTube, guys. Okay? And there's, there's a fake news that, they shown that our president, the former president,
I just want to say this.
okay.
Explain to them that wearing a barong is like wearing a tuxedo.
Okay. Yeah, they hear that. Okay, guys, Frank. Hi, Henry. Yes, thank you so much, Henry. Oh, by the way, Henry. When is your plan, to renew your membership to my LTC family? So that's, oh no, I really appreciate that, Henry. It doesn't really matter, how much is that, because that's came from your, that's came from your heart. It doesn't really matter how much is the cost, okay? So guys, that's Frank said. Did you hear what Frank said? That's wearing barong Tagalog is just like wearing a tuxedo. So that's, that's the thing, guys, okay? After I get move here in the Philippines or in the other states. So that's, that's the one thing, guys, that sometimes I don't really question those. But sometimes, spreading fake news online, it really, and especially for those people that it's easy for them to believe what they shown online. Okay? Okay. What states are you plan to move? They said, is that true that, in Texas, the cost of rent there is less? California, guys, California, Florida, are those, Chicago, the cost of rent is less. And then, Frank mentioned me that, in Indiana, the cost of food there is less, no? There's no...
Yeah, rent is cheaper.
Rent is cheaper, and then...
And food.
Food.
cheaper than Illinois.
Yeah, that's the video, Cisco, that you shared on your short. Oh, you're staying in Mississippi. That's the oh your mom prank what in Mississippi? Your mom
Macomb.
Macomb. You know what, Henry? Frank's mom. She has the land in Mississippi.
Yeah,
Macomb, Mississippi. How many acres of land?
just a lot.
Just a lot. Yeah. So that's Frank's mom live, but in Macomb, Mississippi. Oh, okay. So really for good here in the Philippines. Actually, guys, there's nothing wrong to move here in the Philippines, but like I said, early as this kind of show that you must be aware of the system here and what's the right. It's what is to protect yourself here if you move here in the Philippines. But and the other side is just like the cost of living here is way cheaper than the cost of living in the States. But all you have to do, just do a little research, search the place that you can able live comfortable, okay? And of course your safety is important, the safety of your family is important for you to deal on that. So okay. They said that Mississippi is one of the poorest states in the United States. I hope to move to the Philippines within 2 years, just when my wife is ready. Okay. But anyway, this is so, uh, it is until now. So, this is so hilarious because, before I get married, Frank said that, I want to stay here in the Philippines 4 months. 4 months. He said 4 months. And then I told him, are you sure you're going to stay here for 4 months? And look, he's been here for 6 years, never been back to the United States. 6 years straight. Because actually here, guys, this is the thing that some Western people messed up or lock up in jail because they don't really aware of the system here or the laws. But it's just like thank you very much, my dear friend. Vic, where are you, Vic? Okay. We are family. I get brothers with me. Hold on, Vic. Hold on. Where are you? Okay. I'll give you range for that, my... Okay. All right. Actually, I will give you range. Henry, would you like some range? Because I remember before that you're not really into the range, but just let me know if you want. I will give you. But guys, for those who want, for those receive range, guys, don't really pressure yourself, to do things. If you have time, you can, you can uh what do you call that? advertise my channel, but if not, don't worry about that, guys. I understand. All right, so you don't have to do some mandatory thing about the range. Okay, so it's just like, okay, I'll give you. Because that's, that's the thing, guys, that, for those, for those people who gave me a donation, yes, I will give you a consideration for that. So that's, that's sometimes, I have to ask first if you want or not, because sometimes some people, they don't really want to have that. All they need is just to give some donation for that. But it's just part of my rules, so I have to, I have to keep my promise to all peoples that who support my channel. So that's, that's the main thing that, I really want to share with you guys. And until now, guys, I cannot really go outside. In my place here, it's safe for flood. Okay, because it's almost 3 weeks, guys. It's almost 3 weeks nonstop raining, morning, noon, and evening. And then there's an area here that when you go to the other, other barangay or other street, it's flood. And I don't want to go, especially on the flood area, because sometimes accidentally happens in just, that's why accident. So I don't want to, because here the wirings here, you can see, guys, that we don't dig it on the wirings. It's just like the post, and you can see just like a spider waves on the street. So I don't want to deal with that, because there's so many cases here that people did not die on the flood, that but they die on the electricity that suddenly was, was cut off, and then it's a live wire, and then when dropped in the water, ooh, I don't want that. You know what, guys, I have some story about this. This is real happen. How many years ago? Just like 10 years ago, guys, when I was young and single. So I went to my big sister. I stay with my big sister. So I went to the market. That time is, there's a typhoon, but the signal is not really as strong. And then I went to the market, and then there's a electrician. But everything is, they cut off the light, the wires, or because they have to fix the transformer because was exploded that time. And then all of a sudden, guys, when I was walking, and then suddenly, pam, in the ground, I was so shocked, because the man, it was the electric, the other side, it just like it's cut off, because the wind, do like that, and then it's, it starts to cut off the wire and hits on the man. Imagine, guys, the full, the current, it goes to her, and I saw the man, guys, a person was electrocuted, guys. They look, their hair was, was burned, and it's curly, and then their faces uh black and blue. It scares me to death about that, guys. So I don't want to give any chances, guys. So I don't really mind to stuck here inside the house, just go around the, the area here that, I know that I'm safe. I don't want to take that any single risk. And then another thing, guys, me and Frank, that time that, he's just under, it's just like, because, getting it. Okay, let me read. Seems like it's raining everywhere in the Philippines. Yes, because it's rainy season here, Cisco. So, and then, the east monsoon. So it really brings another, another pressure, to the typhoon. And actually, the last typhoon that we have right now is the Emong. That time it was low pressure, but the west monsoon, it brings the low pressure become strong and form into a typhoon. Yeah. Okay, from Henry, sounds like here for last few months nothing but rain. Okay, from Cisco, yeah, Henry, yeah, a lot of rain in East US. That's scary things to have to see. Yes. Okay, yeah, and the bad thing is have arthritis, knees, and it's completely swelled out and hurting because of that rain. Yeah, that's the thing, guys, that it's scary. I don't want to take that single risk, but Frank, I told Frank, it's okay, Frank. We can stay here. We can do that some other days if the rain it starts to less. So it happened also, guys, that me and Frank, that time that he was on the on the tourist and then provision visa. So we went to the main office of Bureau of Immigration. It's just like somewhere in Pasay City, going to Ruas Boulevard, guys. There's there's what do you call that overpass? No, it's not overpass. What do you call that, Frank? And then suddenly, guys, there's a woman fell from the from the overpass that packed in front of us. Frank said that he said that to me, that is that a doll? And then I told him no, it's a woman. So it scares me to death about that. So I think somebody push her, or somebody uh jump over the skyway. So scary. So I don't want that. It's not funny, but it's just like it brings my uh bad experience when it comes to that, guys. So that's the time that and then of course when it comes to if there's a typhoon here, the Department of Health and some of the agency to announce that for those people, don't go if it's if there's flooded, because the electricity, the current, it's easy to get more more power if the water wave is kind strong, because the source of our electricity here is hydro. Yeah, it scares me that you can hear, guys, that that's the first time that I was ride on the bike with Frank. And suddenly in front of us it's just like like uh 1 meter in front of us. When we pass them, pack. You remember that, Frank? The woman that fell on the skyway.
Yes, I never will forget that.
He asked me, "Is that a doll?" No, it's not. It's a woman. But in the other hands, guys, in the other hands, but I really tell this, from my honest opinion about my country, okay? Uh, when you move here or you visit Philippines, is you cannot really see the difference. You can't really see the things that what's going on here if you visit. But if you move and stay here and live here in the Philippines, little by little, you will see the difference, and you will see the things that, wait a minute, this is not right. It need to be changed, okay? But it's just like we Filipino, we're not really pay attention about that, okay? So when it comes to services here, dealing with the bank, you bring a lot of patience, guys. Because here's the thing, that if you have 4 transactions in the bank, it's not what you think, especially in the States, guys. They, in one teller, they can process your 4 transactions in one teller. But here, you can't. You have to undergo 4 teller for that, or yeah, teller. So it's not what you think. And then the system here, it's kind of a slow. Okay, they have so much, instead of doing their things, just less time. But when they get up, they counting the way they walk, and they have to do outside, talking instead of focus what they're doing. So you will experience that, guys, if you're living here in the Philippines. And that's the thing, that before I was so like that. I'm very patient about that, but it's just like suddenly change. Okay, so Frank, before, oh my goodness, she said that why they cannot do that in 4 transaction, they have to go different window. And then I always explain, Frank, okay, calm down, be patient, it's not what you think in the West. Now I'm no longer that. Frank is the one who tells me, sweetheart, calm down, okay? You know your country. So, if your patient is not really as strong, if you're dealing with the bank, let your wife or girlfriend do that for you. Or else you're gonna have a big argument with those bank employees. Okay, I used to ride my motorcycle in typhoons when I live in Japan, and seen trees in buildings blow away from, but never seen anyone fall on the bridge. Oh my goodness, it happens. But here's the thing, that most of, when it comes to, if there's a typhoon, okay, there's a level, that, there's a color coding. You can say, but I am not really aware of the color coding when it comes to if there's a typhoon. But as much as, if it's windy, you really, when the second typhoon, when I go outside, guys, I have to stay on the wall, on the hallway, because it's too windy, guys. If you're not stay on the wall, it gonna it gonna flew you out, because it's so strong. And especially for those thin people, oh, don't go outside. Okay, so that's the problem here, because it's too windy. It might, some debris, like, some houses, the roof was fell off. And then it's really, not safe. It suddenly might cut off your neck, or it really hit on your body. So we avoid that. If that's, if there's a signal, the signal 1, 2, and 3, if it's signal number 3, that's kind of or 2, we better stay home, or in the shelter that, people safe for the flood. So we don't really want to go outside, because some debris fly, and then it might hit to a person, or other people's go outside. So it's not really safe. So yeah, so I hope that, but anyway, guys, the month of July just started, guys, the typhoon. So July, August, September, that's the month that's so much typhoon, guys. In 1 month, we gonna experience 3 to 4 typhoon. So actually, in this month of July, we encountered 3 typhoons before end of the uh, month of July. Okay. So anyway, guys, so I hope that, all of you guys learn something, that I share with you all the information that, to protect yourself here in the Philippines or other countries that you want to pick to stay or retire. So you better do something that, of course, you don't want to lock up for your you don't want to lock up in other countries because of your lack of knowledge when it comes to dealing with their laws, with dealing with their system. So we must, if we're plan to move to other country, we must learn some basic information, basic some laws in the country that we pick to live. So anyway, guys, I would like to thank to Vic, thank you so much for being part of my LTZ family. Welcome to LTZ family. And of course, Henry, thank you so much for your, donation. And I hope that I can still able to give you guys a good information so that you will have things that uh, to think and sit down for a while before you decide to leave or move to the Philippines. And for those people that question about my things like this, guys, I'm not really into that professional thing, but I have some knowledge also to share. Some, like I said, when I started this live streaming, I mentioned this is basic laws that I would like to share for those uh, Western people. But in the other hand, this type of show is for the entertainment and information only. Okay, don't take it too personal, or don't take it to me, because I cannot give you the full details. All right, so basic details, yes, I can share, so that also you will. Oh my goodness, it rained again. I can say, whoosh. Did you hear that, guys? That's rain, my goodness. So, not only for Filipino protection, and also, and also for those Western people. If you take this personal, I really appreciate. But if you don't this take it, it's up to you. It's not my loss. If you're moving here in the Philippines, it's your loss if you're not pay attention to what I'm uh, shared with you. So anyway, guys, so later on, so around 3:15 p.m. So this is the annual State of the Nation of our President Bongbong Marcos, but I never vote him. But I really want to know what the project that he's implemented is successfully made in my country for 1 year, because every year he has a State of the Nation address or SONA. So again, guys, thank you so much. Muchas gracias, mi amigo. So hasta luego. Adios. Mwah.